Hi, a film I watched last night and particularly enjoyed was Sergio Leone's For a Few Dollars More, the middle installment of his Dollars trilogy, starring Clint Eastwood as the man with no name. Leone has an unusual filmography. He started working in Italian exploitation movies or B pictures. His first full directing credit was on The Colossus of Rhodes, and he followed that up with a low budget Western, for which he secured the services of an American TV actor, and that was Fistful of Dollars. That was a hit. The follow up shots later the same year, For a Few Dollars More, was a bigger hit and pointed the way that was to come for Leone's films. Um, the rest of his career was spent making giant epics. Um, the trilogy concluded with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and then followed his Once Upon a Time trilogy of Once Upon a Time in the West, Duck You Sucker, and after 13 years, Once Upon a Time in America, which moved away from westerns to be a story of Jewish gangsters in New York spanning the 20th century. And just as he died, he was planning on another change of pace, a war film about the World War II siege of Leningrad. Um, but Fistful of Dollars is interesting. I'd seen sorry, For a Few Dollars More is interesting. I've seen Fistful of Dollars some years ago, and although I generally don't enjoy westerns, particularly the old fashioned kind, I liked it as a story. I thought it was engaging. It had an interesting tone, and I liked that the nominal hero is just as bad and brutal as the villains. It's just that he doesn't attack innocent people. For a Few Dollars More continues the story of the man with no name, and this time he's partnered with Colonel Douglas Mortimer, formerly of the US Army, who, like the man with no name, is a bounty killer, not a bounty hunter. People with prices on their heads get killed, their bodies handed over to the authorities, and they pick up the reward. Um, and when they both set their sights on the jailbreaking bank robber and unstable gang leader El Indio. They are at first rivals before deciding to join forces and split the bounty on Indio and his men. So the result is uh, what one might think of as a fairly B picture type scenario, but it's really elevated by the style and the grandeur. That was really very striking. I thought was the film has a an attitude of let's take this very um, what would feel like a low budget concept and make it big. Let's make it feel important. So you have huge sets and huge outdoor backlots. You have very intense focused scenes. You have fascinating photography um, and flashbacks and editing trickery. Everything is designed and created to make everything seem much more bigger and more important and more mythic than it really is. And in a sense, the film, like Leone's other work, is a deconstruction of myth, the myth of the Old West, where the heroes are people who kill for money. They're the good guys, uh, and what arises out of that rather nicely is a degree of humor because yes, they do kill for money, but they only kill the bad people. And Mortimer is shown several times to be quite polite and chivalrous to others, and even the man with no name is shown to have a sense of humour and a degree of warmth and honour to the others who might wear white hats. El Indio himself is a frightening and unstable madman who smokes drugs, which is quite daring, I think, for a film made in 1965. Kills people for fun and plans to rob supposedly the most impregnable bank in Texas. Um, and the motivations of the characters I also found interesting. The man with no name is just in it for the money. He doesn't really care about anything else. But it turns out that Mortimer has more honourable motivations. He's fueled by revenge, and the Man with No Name respects that and steps aside at the final moment to um, honour the wishes of the man for whom he has developed a certain friendship. It's a really exciting, engaging story. As I say, it is a little slow in places. Perhaps it could be a little pacier, but at substantially over 2 hours, it never felt too long. Um, it had enough story. It has great performances. Clint Eastwood is incredibly magnetic. Lee Van Cleef is particularly good, normally playing villains and dressed all in black as he is in this film, but he's actually a much interesting, richer character. Um, Ennio Morricone's score is fantastic, and the direction is terrific, as is the photography and the editing. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of the other Leone films that I've missed in the past. I've seen Fistful of Dollars and Once Upon a Time in America, but I haven't seen Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Once Upon a Time in the West, or Duck You Sucker, which is also released as a Fistful of Dynamite. So I'll be looking forward to those, and in the meantime, I would recommend for a few dollars more very highly indeed.